What socially acceptable behavior in 2012 will shock the young people of the 2060s? I've been enjoying Mad Men lately and have noticed how shocking the casual sexism, racism, and alcohol tobacco consumption is, and yet it was fairly socially acceptable at the time. What are we doing in 2012 that seems very normal to us that will shock the young people a couple of generations from now? Driving our own cars. My first year physics prof said this. If you told people in the future that at the turn of the millennium people drove their own cars, they'd be like, what? No way. Then you would have to go on and say not only that, but they drove in opposite directions on the same road. Shut up. Not true. How did they avoid head-on collisions? Oh, by just painting a line down the center of the road. But, it's magic paint. And sometimes there are two lines that make an impenetrable field. You shall not pass on the double yellow. Except in Vermont. Just learned that. Schools in Indiana, Illinois and Hawaii no longer require elementary school students to learn cursive. Instead, they must teach keyboard proficiency. By the time the 2060s roll around, I think this will be a universal practice, and cursive writing will be a pretty rare skill. I remember my elementary teacher saying, you will use cursive 100% of the time in high school. All your teachers will have you write your essays in cursive. Bullshit. I've never once been asked to write any assignment in cursive. They want that shut typed. Then came the SAT and Saturday, my god, that cursive part was the hardest part of the whole test. I'm convinced that the only reason they put that part in was to make you feel like a ducking idiot before. People will still be wondering why the US hasn't adopted the metric system. I would think gay marriage would probably be well accepted by then, so they would be shocked there was a time gay marriage was so widely debated, just as it is shocking to some that civil rights were so debated in the 60s. According to Republicans, gay marriage will lead to bestiality, so in 2060 everyone will be married to a turtle and we will go extinct. I can confirm. Source, I am from the future and I have a hot turtle. What's her name? Shelley. Those ducking pennies. They used copper to make tiny coins that couldn't buy anything? Considering how much smaller bathing suits get every year, you didn't get naked to go swimming? Actually, I've noticed men's bathing attire getting larger. In 2060, I predict that girls will go naked 24/7 unless it's too cold, and guys will be forced to wear burqas. So you're telling me every man will become a ninja in 2060? Duck yes. So all the women in the world are going to be naked and you are more excited about being a ninja? Yes, all the women, including the ones you don't want to see. Duck that. I would rather be a ninja than see my mom swimming naked every summer. People using sunbeds tanning beds. What? They sat in a booth for a while purposely giving themselves cancer for the sake of being tan. And it was legal? That's why I love America. You're free to be a dumbass if you so choose. Using toilet paper to wipe your beehole. But by 2060, I assume we'll be using the 3-shell method. I'm a Canadian sitting in a cheap hotel in Thailand right now, and they have this little spray nozzle hose attached to the toilet for cleaning your business. I'm positive this is common in this region of the world, but the only thing even remotely close to it I have ever heard of is the bidet, toilet-like object that sprays water up, sits beside regular toilet. Not only is this nozzle fucking genius, it feels amazing. And you save TP, while using more water, undecided on the net environmental impact as of yet. Please world, get this. On topic, I can't imagine everyone in a modern society not having this after The Secret gets out. Well, at the rate we are heading, you mean they actually let their children play outside? As in out there, where strangers are. What happens if they try to climb one of those tree things? How barbaric. They must not have loved their children if they were willing to risk them like that. Some more extreme niches in our society, today, are getting like that. You're assuming there will still be trees and an outside. Cash. As long as there is illegal activity there will always be cash. Yesterday I bought weed in a coffee shop in the Netherlands and paid with my credit card. It felt wrong. You poor bastard, I feel so bad for you. Accessibility of porn. Children not playing outdoors. All these screens taking up our attention, shaving our balls. Edit, I read 2060s as 1960s. Duck it, I'm not changing my answers. I think most of your answers still apply, especially the shaving of the balls. I better have lasers doing that for me by then. Maybe the way we treat animals for food. Perhaps by 2060 we're growing meat in a lab. You know this is already in the pilot stages now, but the people trying it have had trouble getting funding. I don't understand why this is not pursued more heavily. Even if you don't care about animal rights, which I might in theory, but I still eat the hell out of them, the resources used to grow animals for food are enormous. If it took say half the resources to grow meat in a lab as it does on an animal, it would change the world to huge extent. Ignoring global warming in favor of supporting an unsustainable economy. I'm afraid that greed is always in fashion. You mean they actually used a mouse for the computer? Hello, computer? In this thread, a bunch of people who think society progresses infinitely leftward on an uninterrupted train to Toleranceville. For all you know, we could be shooting dead anyone who looks like they might be from the neighboring valley in a water feud and lynching adulterers in God's name. Gassing up your car. I think people will be shocked at how common and blatant homophobia was. There are senators who openly voice their aversions to homosexuality, whether defending their beliefs with religion or personal morals. And no one thinks twice about it. Oh, there's that crazy, conservative Christian on TV again talking about how the Bible says a man shouldn't lay with another man. I think in 2060 gay marriage will be so normal that people will marvel at how it was ever a taboo subject. Going running, for fun? I believe it's jogging or yogging. It might be a soft J, I'm not sure. This is the common response now when I say I'm going for a run. I think college tuition rates would have peaked and likely crashed. So they might be a lot lower than they are now in adjusted dollars, or whatever currency is used. If they don't crash and keep increasing as they are, it's safe to say you'd have 100 to 250k a year tuition rates. And I'd still be paying off my student loans, I'm sure. I think chemotherapy and radiation therapy as a treatment for cancer will be seen as barbaric and even unethical by the 2060s, like how we consider lobotomies and to have been misguided and barbaric today. Hopefully by that time, cancer treatment is much more humane and speedy and does not cause further suffering to the patient. It just targets and treats the cancer instead of destroying your body to get to the cancer. The fact that our computers were separate entities, little boxes with screens and input devices plugged in, will seem really odd and kind of quaint. Like having an entire piece of furniture in your living room, just for listening to the radio. Reading paper books. I hope this is wrong. That would be a disaster. Sent from my iPad. 2 things. You played video games with your hands? Must have sucked waiting for a hoverboard only because a movie said it would happen. Newspapers. No. Not just newspapers. Papers themselves. Really? Let's see you wipe your ass with an iPad in a pinch. The Gangnam Style dance craze. It is 2012's Macarena. Oppan Gangnam Style. Oh my god, grandma, stop. That most of can get in serious trouble for possession of marijuana. In this thread, Redditors think religion, racism, and homophobia will all be non-existent in the next 30 years and be looked back on in horror within 50. Smoking. Getting our collective panties in a bunch about gay marriage and drug legalization. Legalize gay weed. Hopefully being proud about not being smart and this ridiculous idolization of the uneducated. I want my kids to look back and say, you guys seriously sat around and watched the worst people in the world and laughed about it? Toddlers in tiaras, 16 and pregnant, Jersey Shore. Oh, and religion, but that's a personal thing. If I wanted to cry about it, I'd post to r/atheism. So, this is more 2007 than 2012. But I've been trying to come up with a way to describe Guitar Hero to my eventual children without sounding like a weirdo. I've still come up empty. Why would a cop have to pull you over? The car should have notified you of your infraction and fined you accordingly. Considering the way video games are headed, I wouldn't be surprised if kids would be shocked at the idea of video games ever being considered a kids thing, or something only nerds play. Though it's on the cusp of being that way now. That people are not being constantly monitored. I sincerely hope that you've never been to the moon will be as common as saying, you've never been to Disney World. Gassing up your car.